Hi, and welcome to this series about the importance of building relationships with infants. I'm Mary Quest, the content coordinator for Town Square at Erickson Institute. In this segment, we're going to look at what research is showing about the impact that early relationships can have for overall healthy development. And in the following segments in the series, we'll take a look at strategies for establishing positive relationships with infants and how to go about doing this in the multi-age setting of a family child care home. Research is consistently showing that there are important long-term benefits to establishing a healthy infant-caregiver relationship. And first and foremost is a sense that relationships offer a sense of safety and security, which allows for the growing infant to feel comfortable taking risks, being an active agent within the relationship. And ultimately, a positive caregiving relationship gives that infant a sense that they are competent and effective at communicating, at making connections with others. And this is essential for survival as a human being. Research also shows overwhelmingly that early relationships have impacts on healthy physical, cognitive, language, and brain development. So in order to grow and be strong and healthy in these areas, infants need to feel safe, secure, and effective in the relationships that they have with their caregivers. So really what the earliest relationships are about is establishing a sense of trust. Caregivers show the infant that they can trust them by meeting their needs, responding to their signals, and in turn, the infant develops a sense of trust in their own ability to actively contribute to the relationship. The patterns developed during infancy in trusting relationships have implications for relationships to come throughout the rest of life. So every new relationship you have with another person is going to begin with a question of trust and establishing feelings of trust that you can rely on the other person and that you are a capable contributing partner within that relationship. So it's very important for infants to have this experience of trust in their earliest relationships with caregivers. An attachment forms in a caregiver-infant relationship that has established trust. An attachment relationship can serve as security for exploring the world because there is confidence that the caregiver will consistently be there to meet the needs that the infant has, regardless of what they are encountering as they explore. The infant understands that the caregiver is going to work to try to understand what they need and try to read their signals, and will then feel comfortable doing things like touching something with an unusual texture or tasting a new food. So as the relationship grows and the infant grows and becomes more mobile, this is very important so that the infant can move through their environment and explore, knowing that the caregiver is going to be sure to keep them safe, that they can turn to their caregiver for reassurance or comfort, that they can look to the caregiver to check if something is safe for them to explore. So the attachment relationship also includes the infant communicating with the caregiver and building a sense of confidence in their own ability to elicit a response from the caregiver. Research points to the role that the earliest relationships play in forming connections between brain cells and developing strong positive pathways in the brain that are foundational for future communication and learning. So serve and return refers to that back and forth communication that happens between caregiver and infant. So the infant might signal by gesturing, vocalizing, crying, and then the caregiver responds with attending to needs or engaging in a social interaction, and vice versa. The caregiver might engage the infant in an interaction, and there's a back and forth that's happening. The caregiver also plays a critical role in managing stress levels for the infant so that they're not in a situation that feels overwhelming to them, and that the stimulation that they're experiencing is at a manageable level for them. Chronic ongoing stress or toxic stress levels are highly negative when it comes to early brain development, and this can have a lasting negative effect. At the same time, as the infant is growing, learning to cope with a manageable level of stress that is not overwhelming is actually positive, and it gives infants a chance to try a variety of coping strategies and gives them more flexibility overall. So, the caregiver's job involves sensitively monitoring the stress level of the infant in order to keep that at that beneficial level. Um, so please join me for the next segment in the series where we will explore some strategies for building relationships with infants.